Welcome to Pilates for Love, a mind and body Pilates, a wellness approach class. Are you ready to breathe, move, and flow?
Let's begin with our plank to pike. We'll get set up in a plank position on your hands and feet with a long spine and a slight tuck under with your hips. Wrists are underneath the shoulders. You'll keep the spine long and begin to lift the pelvis up, bending at the waistline and creating a pyramid shape with the body. Now you'll slowly melt back down into your plank position, extending your hips before reversing the movement back up again. Your gaze follows the pelvis as the hips lift, and as the hips lower, the gaze stays long. You are using your abdominals to elevate the pelvis up and to control the movement back down again.
Notice what you feel in your body. Notice the beat of your heart. Throughout this class, be patient with yourself and listen to what your body is needing. By choosing to participate in this Pilates class, you are practicing your first act of self-love, giving tenderness to your body and mind.
We'll lay on our back for butterfly chest lift. Butterfly the soles of the feet together as if they are praying. Your knees will fall wide. Arms elongate over the chest and your index finger and thumb fingers touch. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders to a chest lift position and extend the arms down over your ankles, reaching the arms forward to round the spine and then slowly melting back down again onto the mat. Ankles stay supported by the mat the entire time, but press the soles of your feet together so that the inner thighs are working throughout.
Bringing the question to mind, what makes me feel loved? How does this question sit for you? Is it comfortable? Uncomfortable? How does it feel to answer this question? How is your body communicating the answer to this question about love?
Leg lift. Spine stays in imprint. Legs elevate to tabletop position first. Now lengthen them straight up towards the sky. Legs begin to lift and lower while the back stays flat against the mat.
Some people feel loved with kind words. Others feel loved through touch, gifts, the way others act around them, or spending time together.
Side plank with rotation. We'll plank on our right forearm. Let's stack the hips and shoulders and extend the top arm so that the chest is stretched and facing forward. Keep the pelvis still. Round the top arm and reach underneath the torso, watching the fingertips with your eyes and head as you thread the needle. And then extend the arm back up. Your spine will twist as you thread the needle, and the rest of your body stays still. To modify, you can always keep your knees bent and anchored to the floor.
Bringing up a memory of a time you felt loved. Where were you? Who were you with? How did you feel in that moment? Where in your body did you feel that love? What did you see, smell, taste, touch, and hear? Staying in that moment, exploring that experience, bringing those feelings of love into this current moment.
4-point kneel with arm and leg extended. Hands will start under the shoulders, knees right under the hips so that you're kneeling in all fours. Press into the earth with your hands and your knees with a neutral spine. Begin to extend the right arm forward, thumb facing up. Once you establish control and balance, extend the opposite leg back. Your arm and leg are going to move away from the body together and back in line with the shoulder and the hip together. I like to imagine my arm and my leg are windshield wipers here. As my arm and leg move, the rest of my body stays still. If modifications are needed, you may eliminate either the arm extension or the leg extension and keep either the arm or the leg planted on the floor.
Now bringing up a memory where you were giving love. Is there a difference in how you feel giving versus receiving love?
Let's switch to the other side. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Begin to extend the left arm forward. Once you establish that same balance, your arm and leg will travel away from the body together and then back into alignment. The trunk once again stays still. You're using your deep abdominals to stay balanced.
The way we give love, is it the same as how we receive love? What makes you feel appreciated, cared for, and safe? Is giving and receiving love the same for those that you hold close to your heart?
Side plank with rotation. We'll plank on our left forearm here. Stack the hips and the shoulders and extend the top arm so that the chest is stretched and facing forward once again. Pelvis will stay still and you'll begin to thread the needle with that top arm, watching the fingertips as the arm reaches underneath that torso, and then watching the fingertips as the arm travels back up to extend over the shoulders.
If your mind has wandered away, bringing it back to this present moment, this moment of focusing on love.
Bridge with articulation. Knees bend up towards the sky and the feet stay imprinted on the mat. Arms press into the earth, and as you peel the hips away from the mat into a bridge position, you're keeping the belly button pulled in towards the low back. Now let's tuck the tailbone underneath the hips and begin to articulate the spine and roll back down onto the mat, letting each piece of bone find the mat at a separate time. Then starting the movement back up again. Work to warm the posterior chain, but keep the belly button spiraling down.
Imagine a time when you felt loved by yourself and by others. What was that time like for you? How did you feel at that moment? Spend some time filling in the sensory details to help enhance the scene.
Frog. Let's continue to lay in our supinated position on your back. Lift the legs to tabletop and separate the toes to form a Pilates V. The insides of your heels stay connected here. Begin to extend both legs away from the body and then use the hamstrings to pull the legs back into that tabletop position. Your back stays flat. And if you like that progression, if you want a progression, you'll lift the head, neck, and shoulders to a chest lift position and reach the arms outside of the hips.
Allow yourself to embrace this love, adding in cue words or music to strengthen this feeling of love.
Crisscross with legs extended. You'll keep the legs extended and turned out here. I like a pointed foot, a pointed toe. You'll begin to cross the legs, one on top of the other. Keeping the pelvis and low back anchored, the head, neck, and shoulders may stay lifted if you feel confident with that progression. Otherwise, you may keep the head, neck, and shoulders supported by the mat.
Who comes to mind when you think of love? This could be someone you know or someone you have learned about. Someone from the past or the present. Someone you hope to meet in the future. It could be someone real or imaginary, a person or an animal.
Kneeling unilateral leg lift. Sit on the left hip with the left hand outside of the hip. You'll lift the hips into a modified plank position and float the top leg out to extension. Begin to lift and lower the top hip as the rest of the body stays still.
Imagine putting a protective barrier around yourself and your loving support system. What material is this protective barrier made of? Does it need to be rock hard and impenetrable? Or does it need to have doors or gaps to let in those that you deem loving? If you do choose to let others in, who are these people? How have they shown you that they love you?
Kneeling unilateral work on the other side. So we'll sit on our right hip with our right hand outside the hip. Lift the hips into a modified plank and float the top leg out to extension. Begin to lift and lower that top leg. Keep the knee and the ankle facing forward rather than leaning into the temptation to open up or turn out from the hip. So both of the hips stay facing forward as I lift and lower that top leg.
How are you acting in your loving space? What activities are you participating in? How do you feel being embraced by love? If your mind begins to wander, gently, without judgment, bring it back to this moment.
Back extension, laying prone on your belly. Arms extend by your sides and sandwich both of your hips. Keep the pubic bone anchored and begin to extend the spine, elevating your shoulders and your sternum away from the mat. Your arms and your fingertips will slide down towards your knees as the back extends. Pause at the top of the movement, sending awareness to your entire back body. And then use your inhale to slowly melt back down again, finding the floor with control. Even though this is a posterior chain emphasis, core stays active to support the spine. We're using those core set muscles throughout the movement, even though we are using the back of our body.
Creating your own special mantra at this time. Examples are, I am loved, I know love, whatever works for you. This is your mantra that you could turn to at any time. What time of the day, potentially multiple times a day, can this mantra be of service to you?
Sideline flexion. Knees stacked and hands canopy the head. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders, cinching the upper waistline above the hip. Now let the head, neck, and shoulders lay back down. You're going to exhale, chest stays open towards the sky, and then lower back down again.
Take a moment to tune into your breath, how your muscles are feeling, what your body is telling you, what your mind is telling you.
Sideline flexion, other side. Roll into the other hip. Hands stay behind the head. We'll begin to lift away, cinching into that upper rib cage and slowly melting back into the floor.
As you exhale, bring yourself to this present moment. In this present moment, what is in your control and what is out of your control. Moving your attention to focusing on what you can control and giving yourself permission to let go of what can't be controlled and having grace through that process.
Cat-cow pose. We'll come onto all fours. We'll round the spine like a scared Halloween cat, creating a C shape. Now extend the spine, open up the chest, wide collarbone. Let's reverse that movement, curling the spine using the strength of our abdominals, pushing the knees and the hands into the earth, and then extend the spine back out, open up the chest, and then extend the tailbone.
Remember, the more you practice entering this loving space, the easier it is to bring up when you need it most. Our imagination is a muscle that needs to be utilized. The more we practice, the stronger this imagination muscle becomes.
Child's pose. Arms stretch forward. Knees separate and big toes come together. Let the chest and the forehead drop to the mat.
Thank you for exploring this Pilates class wave. We hope it guides you through the rest of your day. If you like this class, please provide us with a thumbs up, a comment, and subscribe to participate in future Mind and Body Pilates, a wellness approach classes.